In the realm of ministry, where principles such as honesty, faith, and moral integrity are regarded as foundational pillars, few events are as earth shattering as the disclosure of a secret double life. Such a revelation sent shock waves through the Christian community when Pastor Stephen J. Lawson, a respected figure known for his teachings, was thrust into the spotlight, not for his sermons or theological contributions, but for a scandal that would undermine the very foundations of his ministry. For 5 long years, Pastor Lawson, a man who many looked to for spiritual guidance and moral integrity, harbored a secret relationship with a woman 25 years his junior. This truth, concealed in whispers and shadows, ultimately forced its way into the light, creating ripples across the Christian world. What followed was not merely a confession of personal sin, but a complex tale woven with themes of power, manipulation, and the public fallout resulting from private choices. How did it come to this? How does a man so devoted to the Word of God find himself ensnared in such a web of deceit? And what does this scandal mean for the community he was meant to lead? The fall of a giant? Who is Pastor Stephen J. Lawson? For years, Pastor Stephen J. Lawson stood as a towering figure in the evangelical Christian landscape. As the founder and president of OnePassion Ministries, he meticulously crafted a reputation built on delivering profound scriptural teachings. His sermons were celebrated for their clarity, theological depth, and unwavering adherence to the authority of the Bible. Lawson's books, often utilized as textbooks in theological studies, solidified his status as one of the most respected voices on Reformed theology, particularly regarding the sovereignty of God. He embodied the ideal of what a Christian leader should be: firm in his convictions, passionate about spreading the gospel, and viewed as a paragon of moral excellence. His teachings emphasize purity, truth, and the rejection of worldly temptations. As he traveled globally to speak at conferences, churches, and seminars, Lawson's influence grew, attracting thousands to his message of salvation and spiritual growth. However, unbeknownst to his congregation and admirers, another narrative was unfolding behind the scenes, one that starkly contrasted with the very message he championed through his ministry. The relationship, a scandal 5 years in the making. At the center of the scandal was a 25-year-old woman who was deeply involved in Pastor Lawson's ministry. Though known within his congregation, she was perceived merely as another young believer seeking spiritual mentorship. However, behind closed doors, their relationship was far more intimate than anyone could have imagined. For 5 years, Lawson and this woman engaged in a relationship that, while consensual, was deeply inappropriate given the significant power dynamics at play. As both a spiritual leader and a mentor, Lawson held a unique position of authority. The age difference, combined with his marital status and pastoral role, created a situation that was fraught with ethical concerns. The fact that such a relationship could remain hidden for so long attests to Lawson's adeptness at controlling his public image. For years, he maintained the facade of a faithful husband and godly leader while living a double life. However, secrets of this magnitude have a way of surfacing, often when least expected. The revelation, a breaking point. The breaking point came when the woman, unable to bear the weight of the secret any longer, stepped forward. Whether driven by guilt, a sense of betrayal, or a desire for justice, she revealed the existence of the relationship. The scandal quickly gained traction. The internet erupted with accusations, rumors, and speculation. Christian news outlets rushed to verify the story, while Lawson's followers were left in disbelief. Initially, there was silence from Lawson's camp. His social media accounts fell silent, and his previously scheduled appearances at events were abruptly canceled. However, as pressure mounted, it became clear that he could no longer evade the inevitable. It was time to confess. The confession, a moment of truth, or damage control. When Pastor Stephen J. Lawson finally broke his silence, it was through a meticulously crafted statement. This confession was not delivered from the pulpit, but rather as a written message circulated to his followers. In his statement, Lawson acknowledged the relationship but attempted to frame it as a moment of weakness rather than a prolonged betrayal of trust. He sought forgiveness from his congregation, his family, and most importantly, from God. However, for many, the confession felt insufficient and arrived too late. The fact that he only confessed after the woman disclosed the affair made it seem less like a genuine act of repentance and more like an attempt to salvage what remained of his ministry. In the wake of Lawson's confession, the fallout was swift and devastating. Churches that had once invited him to speak began to cancel his engagements, and OnePassion Ministries, his pride and joy, saw a sharp decline in support. Longtime followers were left disillusioned, grappling with the reality that a man they had revered could fall so dramatically from grace. The impact extended beyond Lawson himself. For many, the scandal was not merely a personal failure, but a symptom of deeper issues within the evangelical movement. The dynamics of power, the lack of accountability, and the pressures on pastors to maintain a perfect image all contributed to the unraveling of Lawson's reputation. Some rallied to defend him, arguing that he was a sinner like anyone else and deserved forgiveness and a chance at redemption. They pointed to figures from the Bible, such as King David, who committed grievous sins but ultimately found redemption through God's grace. Yet, for many, the trust had been irrevocably shattered. No amount of biblical justification could repair the damage done. The larger conversation, power, responsibility, and accountability. The scandal surrounding Pastor Stephen J. Lawson's forced confession is not merely about one man's moral failure. It opens up a vital conversation that the Christian community must engage in regarding power, accountability, and the expectations placed upon spiritual leaders. When pastors and church leaders are elevated to near celebrity status, they are often placed on pedestals that complicate accountability. Congregations are taught to trust their leaders implicitly, viewing them as nearly infallible figures of authority. Yet, as Lawson's scandal demonstrates, unchecked power can lead to abuses, whether intentional or not. The significant age difference and power dynamic between Lawson and the woman involved raised critical ethical questions. Was she genuinely capable of providing informed consent, or was she unduly influenced by Lawson's authority over her? These are pressing issues that must be addressed, not only in Lawson's case, but within the broader context of pastoral responsibility. Lessons learned. Moving forward, as the dust begins to settle, the Christian community finds itself grappling with the ramifications of the Lawson scandal. It serves as a stark reminder that no leader, regardless of their reverence, is immune to the temptations of the flesh. Additionally, it highlights the urgent need to create systems of accountability that ensure leaders are held to the same standards they preach. A shift towards fostering environments that value transparency over image is crucial. For Pastor Lawson, the road to redemption will be long and arduous. Whether he will succeed in rebuilding his ministry or whether this scandal will mark the end of his public career remains uncertain. However, for his followers, the lesson is clear. Faith should never be placed in a man, but in God alone. As this story continues to unfold, it is evident that this moment will be a defining chapter in the history of modern evangelicalism, one that compels the community to confront its values, its leaders, and its future. Disgraced pastor and former dean at the Master's Seminary, Steve Lawson had a 5-year relationship with a woman in her late 20s. Phil Johnson, an elder and pastor at John MacArthur's Grace Community Church, stated in an explosive post that Lawson is 73 years old and the woman is in her late 20s. Johnson added that the woman is not a member of Lawson's church, Trinity Bible Church of Dallas, and resides in a different state, far from any ministries that Lawson has served. However, he did not immediately respond to inquiries regarding whether the woman had ever attended the Master's Seminary, TMS, or the Master's University, TMU, ultimately deleting his post. The Roy Report also reached out to TMS President Abner Cho and TMS Executive Vice President Nathan Busett for clarification on this matter, but did not receive a response. A congregant of Trinity commented on X, expressing disappointment over the lack of transparency from the church leadership, stating, "I fully expected them to be forthcoming with the flock. Instead, we were left in the dark, heartbroken by it all, and unsure if we will stay." In response, Johnson encouraged congregants to stay and to discuss their feelings privately with the church leadership rather than leaving abruptly. The Trinity Bible Church has been contacted repeatedly for a clarification regarding Lawson's misconduct and the woman involved, but they have not responded. TMS has not made any public statements about Lawson either, but in an email to TMS students last week, Busett mentioned that Lawson had been removed from pastoral ministry for failing to be a one-woman man and has been permanently disqualified from ministry. The email did not elaborate on the details of Lawson's misconduct or the connection of the woman to TMS or TMU. OnePassion Ministries released a statement confirming that Lawson had confessed to the board about having an inappropriate relationship with a woman, a sin that disqualifies him from ministry. However, the statement lacked details about the nature of the relationship and whether Lawson held any position of authority over the woman involved. Lawson also served as a teaching fellow and board member of Ligonier Ministries, which has yet to make any public statements regarding Lawson, but has removed him from its fellowship. Despite the unfolding scandal, Lawson's messages and videos continue to be posted on Ligonier's website. This article has been updated to include information regarding the deletion of Johnson's initial post and his subsequent explanation, in which he indicated that the post was removed out of deference to the elders of Trinity Bible Church. He directed those with legitimate questions to approach Trinity Bible Church or Lawson directly, but he did not address whether the woman was ever a student at the Master's Seminary or the Master's University. For over 4 decades, Steve Lawson has been a prominent figure in the world of Reformed preaching, characterized by his theological rigor and steadfast commitment to Christian ministry. As the former dean of the Master's Seminary and the founder of OnePassion Ministries, Lawson cultivated a reputation that many in the evangelical community regarded as nearly untouchable. His frequent appearances at major theological conferences, collaborations with well-known pastors such as John MacArthur, and a robust catalog of books and sermons positioned him as a spiritual leader who exemplified doctrinal fidelity and personal integrity. However, a shocking turn of events has shattered this carefully built image. Reports have surfaced regarding a 5-year relationship between Lawson, now 73, and a woman in her late 20s. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the evangelical community, raising troubling questions about pastoral misconduct, abuse of power, and the necessity for transparency in church leadership. Phil Johnson, an elder and pastor at John MacArthur's Grace Community Church, took to the social media platform X, formerly Twitter, to reveal the details of Lawson's inappropriate relationship. However, he later deleted the post, intensifying public speculation. In his now deleted statement, Johnson disclosed that Lawson only confessed his inappropriate conduct after the woman's father confronted him and threatened exposure. What initially appeared to be a minor moral lapse with romantic overtones has quickly unraveled into a deeper crisis, challenging the evangelical community's approach to pastoral accountability. This troubling scenario serves as an entry point into a larger narrative that delves into the complexities of church leadership, the misuse of authority, and the profound consequences of moral failure. Lawson's 5-year relationship with a woman in her late 20s has led to significant scrutiny. Johnson, in his post, noted that the woman is not a member of Lawson's church, Trinity Bible Church of Dallas, and resides in a different state, far from any of the ministries Lawson has served. Despite attempts to obtain clarification, Both Trinity Bible Church and the Master's Seminary, TMS, have remained largely silent regarding the nature of the relationship and whether the woman ever attended TMS or the Master's University, TMU. According to experts in abuse cases, any sexualized behavior by a church leader towards someone under their spiritual care, who, by nature, holds less power and authority, constitutes clergy sexual abuse. Texas has laws criminalizing clergy sexual abuse, while California does not. Johnson further explained that Lawson informed the elders at Trinity Bible Church about his inappropriate relationship only after the girl's father had confronted him and threatened exposure. He characterized this revelation not as a noble confession of sin, but as a reluctant admission. Johnson also expressed concern that referring to the relationship as inappropriate was overly vague, as it might suggest something as benign as holding hands. He emphasized that this was a significant romantic relationship, albeit both parties insisted that no literal fornication occurred, leaving the nature of their connection as adulterous in spirit, if not in fact. In a statement released by Trinity Bible Church, they acknowledged Lawson's actions as an inappropriate relationship and confirmed that he had been indefinitely removed from all ministry activities within the church. However, their statement did not mention the father's threat of exposure. During a service the following Sunday, Trinity elder Mark Becker briefly addressed the scandal but refrained from providing specifics about Lawson's misconduct, urging congregants to focus on the future of the church rather than the details of the situation. This lack of transparency left many congregants feeling heartbroken and uncertain about their place in the church. As one congregant expressed disappointment on social media, they expected more openness from church leadership, but instead felt left in the dark. Johnson, responding to the concerns raised, encouraged individuals to stay, suggesting that the church's leadership was not attempting to cover up or minimize Lawson's actions, but was navigating a challenging situation. He advised congregants to discuss their feelings privately with church leadership before making decisions about their involvement in the church. Despite repeated attempts by various media outlets to reach Trinity Bible Church for clarification on Lawson's misconduct and the woman involved, the church has remained unresponsive. The Master's Seminary has also not made any public statements regarding Lawson's situation. However, Nathan Bunett, TMS's executive vice president, communicated to students last week that Lawson had been removed from pastoral ministry for failing to be a one-woman man and was permanently disqualified from ministry. Yet, the email did not elaborate on the details of Lawson's misconduct or clarify whether the woman had any connection to TMS or TMU. OnePassion Ministries, the organization founded by Lawson, acknowledged his confession of engaging in an inappropriate relationship with a woman, describing it as a sin that has disqualified him from ministry. This statement, however, provided no details regarding Lawson's authority over the woman involved. Furthermore, Lawson had previously served as a teaching fellow and board member at Lanier Ministries, which has now removed him from its list of teaching fellows. Despite this, Lawson's sermons and teachings continue to be featured on Lanier's website, raising ethical questions about how the church should handle the legacy of a disgraced leader. The fallout from this scandal resonates throughout the broader Reformed community, which typically holds its leaders to exceptionally high moral standards. The situation raises important questions regarding the qualifications of pastors, particularly in terms of personal conduct. Many within the community are left wondering why certain figures seem to evade public scrutiny, while others are subjected to severe consequences when their sins come to light. Ultimately, Steve Lawson's story transcends a narrative of personal moral failure. It embodies institutional fragility, the misuse of authority, and the pressing need for radical honesty in the face of scandal. As the church grapples with these revelations, it must consider how to better protect its members from the misuse of power by those in leadership. This situation is not solely about removing a pastor from ministry. It is fundamentally about safeguarding the integrity of the church itself. For congregants, students, and colleagues who once regarded Lawson as a spiritual mentor, This period has undoubtedly been marked by grief, confusion, and betrayal. Yet, it also presents an opportunity for reflection, reform, and renewal. As painful as this process may be, it is a necessary step toward ensuring that the church remains a sanctuary of trust, safety, and accountability. While the path to healing may be long, it is imperative to approach it with transparency, grace, and a steadfast commitment to uphold the gospel message that leaders like Lawson once fervently championed. In conclusion, the saga of Steve Lawson serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that no leader, regardless of their stature or influence, is immune to the consequences of sin. It also calls the church to action, urging it to hold its leaders accountable and to cultivate a culture in which truth and integrity are paramount. The need for accountability and transparency within church leadership has never been more evident. And as the evangelical community processes this scandal, it must strive to ensure that such failures do not become a recurring theme in its narrative.